Hey everyone, how are you doing? Okay, so I was just doing something not so long ago, and I was kind of curious to find out a little bit about the energy readings, just to see what's going on with outside. And so I decided to pull the cards, and what the reason why as well I did pull the cards was something that I've actually been seeing for the past week. And at first it was quite subtle, you know. But this morning, when I woke up, it became very, very apparent to me. You know, we get this deep inner knowing, almost like an epiphany. So it's afternoon at the minute, it's going at 5 o'clock my time in the UK. So I wanted to kind of like do an energy check-in. And it seems to be lining up with exactly what I was picking up on the past couple of days. And I wanted to, before I go any further with the reading, I wanted to kind of like put the camera on and then just kind of share this message with you, because I wanted to find out if any of you guys have been noticing something in the skies. I'm not talking about UFOs or anything like that, or ships and all that stuff. But rather to do with the sky itself, chemtrails in particular. Okay. So a couple of things with regards to the fact that the fuel situation. So not much planes really have been flying as much as they were before. And I have noticed that there's not as many planes coming in as was before, which means then they're obviously going to be affecting those other planes that shoot out those chemicals. But anyway, I kind of noticed, like, I see the lines, the chemtrails come up, and then it's almost as if, like, once they start expanding and stuff, and I think, oh yeah, here comes the bloody clouds, they don't really show up. It's like they dissipate. Okay, but I noticed it for a few days. I didn't really sort of think of anything of it. I noticed it and I thought, oh, okay. But then today, I kind of noticed that something wasn't really, like, what I was feeling before. It was more like feeling very obvious that something is really going on. When I tapped in with my guides, now again, this is something that I was connecting with. Please don't take it for gospel. You just use your discretion. And if you are in contact with your own guides, or if you have noticed anything, then please do tap in with your own guides, with your own contacts. If you have contacts upstairs, connect with them to cross-reference, to verify, because what I am seeing personally may be different from what you're seeing personally. Okay, because we've all got coming from different perceptions and looking at the same thing but from different angles. And what they were saying was that, okay, the chemtrails, then everyone's really starting to notice them. We're always talking about them, and they're becoming apparent because everyone, those who have been doing their research, has been seeing a lot of what's going on. Now, obviously, a lot of people are starting to wake up. But what they were saying was that because of our consciousness that's expanding, becoming more aware, people are now starting to wake up. As a collective consciousness of people that are coming in and starting to realize and see what's going on, that something isn't right, something is wrong, what we've been told is a lie, etc., etc., is starting to affect the reality around us. And what they were saying was that it's almost as if our consciousness is creating some kind of, now this is my words, some kind of like alchemy, alchemical or chemical alchemy, which is creating this kind of like shield that kind of like reflects back, projects back or mirrors back any of the sort of like frequencies within these sort of so-called nanoparticles that are trying to come down and kind of make us sick. Okay, so it's almost as if it's they're dissipating. you see them for a minute, but they're like dissipating. Now, this is kind of like, it's subtle, but they were saying that over time, over a period of time, it will get more and more and more. So more and more people will be aware of this. Right now, everyone's aware of these bloody chemtrails in the sky and what they're doing. But it's almost as if, because what they don't want and what they were worried that would happen is that if we all started to come together and unite, we would be able to burn through all of, not only just their lies, we're seeing everything now, and the veil is really starting to like singe at the moment. With the help of the solar flares that we've been experiencing, is really helping us to become more activated, become more assembled, if you like, within our structures. And in doing so, we are energetically connecting with people more than our words. It's the energy resonance, really. It's the resonance, okay? I kind of hope this makes sense, because I'm still kind of like going through this. I'm still sort of like processing it. I'm still, going through it. But I wanted to kind of share that with you and see if you guys have noticed anything. Because as much as like at the moment it's bright and sunny, it's about 25 degrees where I am right now, and the skies are like very clear, and the clouds are very wispy. But I have noticed a few little planes, and there has been like, the planes of like having the chemtrails like going down, like flying past, expanding slightly, but it doesn't seem to be doing much. And it sort of like goes away. So whatever's happening, their intent on harming us seems to be becoming less and less effective, if that makes sense. All right. So, if you've noticed anything, please do put it in the comments. I could be onto something, or I could be totally off, and you're like, Lorraine, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, But this feels as if this is happening gradually. It's almost like it's expanding out. So certain areas where you may be located, you may not see it where I am, and vice versa. And, but something is happening, something is changing. So let's get into the reading. Let's get into the cards. So I pulled out the Empress with the Wheel of Fortune. Then the Sun card came out. The Five of Wands in the reverse. And then we had the Seven of Swords come out with the Seven of Cups. And then underneath the bottom of the deck, we got the Three of Swords in the reverse. And this card, we've got the Four of Swords, or 3 and 4 of the 7, right? And then, funnily enough, I was going to go for the Inner Temple Oracle. And something said, no, go for the Ancient Stones Oracle instead. And as I've pulled out the deck, this card came up, which says, live the question. Curiosity, open your mind, live into it. But what captured me most of all was open your mind. Okay, so it's almost as if like there is definitely an expansion that's going on. So let's just go through the cards. So guys, let me just I just need to get something from my pencil case. You can hear that noise, like what the hell's going on. Right, so the Empress with the Wheel of Fortune, they both come out together, and instantly what I was getting was, now is the time that things are starting to expanding in awareness, expanding in creativity, expanding in creation, expansion of this beautiful divine feminine sacred energies that is starting to emit out. And one thing I noticed as well is we've got the sorry guys, I can't really see that. Let me pull this up. So with regards to the way how the clouds are around this card here, and you've got like this is almost like giving me like a clock, a time, and like a portal as well, if you like. But it's almost as if like the awareness of what's going on, the consciousness is starting to dissipate all of these clouds, and it's sort of like you're starting to see a lot more of what they've been trying to hide in the skies. Okay. So the skies have always been in disguise for a long time. However, with the help of our lovely friend here, the sun, it's emitting out all of this beautiful, powerful energies, these rays that are helping to break down the veil and also to help build up our DNA, our awakening, and our activations. And what this is doing now, obviously, we've got two sides of reality that's currently happening simultaneously on, within what we know. We've got the ones who are awake and the ones who are asleep. And what I'm noticing here is that with the Five of Wands in the reverse, what this is showing me is that there is a sort of like a lessening, if you like, of this sort of inner conflict of it can't be true, and the struggles of trying to, sort of like be aware of what's going on. But there's also this like, well, let me go and research this. Let me question what it is that I'm seeing, because you have a right, a fundamental divine right to question everything. You're questioning the reality that you're in because you're seeing certain things that are like, what the fuck's going on? And with the Seven of Swords, this can be seen as escape, avoiding, strategizing, planning. But I'm also seeing this as like escaping the matrix or using strategy to understand what the hell it is that you're seeing. And as things are clearing up in the skies, it's gradually, but you're going to start to see a lot more. It's almost like, the veil is thinning out, and you're going to be starting to see again what they've been hiding, up in the skies for all this time. With the Three of Swords in the reverse, and obviously, we've got the Four of Swords in that part position. But the Three of Swords, to me, it represents like no longer sort of like being in this energy of sort of like fear or disappointment, that kind of unsettling energy, even though it does feel a little bit unsettling because all of these energies are starting to really happen all at once. But it's almost like you're in this calm, grounded state, which is coming in from the Empress energy that's helping you to process this. And also, you're not in the energy of the Five of Wands. It's almost as if like the sun is burning through all of the dramas. So what's left now is an energy of being very grounded and prepared. We've been shown all of this information, researching for years. Documentations that's been, left for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, are starting to come through. So, it's like, well, it's not like it's anything new. We're starting to see these things now. So there is this feeling of preparation. And for those who don't, harness the energy of fear, but it's almost like, what, let me look into this. Let me be curious enough to ask these questions. Let me be curious enough to research so that I can get a better understanding of the reality around me. And if I am conscious enough, if I am sovereign enough, and if I know that I am God, I am a fractal of consciousness, of source, of the original prime creator, then I can create the reality around me. You change the world by going within. And if many other people are doing this at the same time, what do you think is going to happen? Okay, which is another reason why they don't want you to wake up. They can't afford for you to start thinking for yourself. They know how powerful the collective is and can be and will be. Okay, so I'm just going to expand on this because where the cards came out, it was like, whoa, okay. So I'm just going to shuffle so I can get a little bit more information. And because I've already pre-shuffled the cards already, sometimes, I always like to do the cards whilst I've got the camera rolling so that you can see for yourself what's going on. All right, okay. I'm going to cut the deck. This is good. All right. So here we go. Let's look at the Empress first. Now remember, guys, just take what resonates. We have got the Seven of Pentacles in our upright position, and there's something about this energy of waiting. We've been waiting a long time for this. But there's patience here as well. There's this feeling as well of this deep knowing. And what's interesting, we've got 3 sevens, 777 that's here. And 7 is a very significant number, very spiritual as well. So I do feel that, it's like this element of being, again, waiting for this divine timing. Because obviously, we've been, oh God, it's been very, 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 very trying. Very, very stressful, very frustrating. But as time is wearing on, and I feel again with regards to this quickening energy, the rays of, the flares that's been coming in, at this precise moment in time, we're going through this sort of grounded processing stage. So we're having a look at things, we're having a look at our lives, people around us, these events that's playing out, and then we have the right to pick and choose what we are going to align with the most. With regards to the Wheel of Fortune that accompanied the Empress, we do have, again, all these sevens. Interesting. We've got the 7 of Wands in the reverse, so there's been an unblockage. So whatever they were trying to do to block out the sun or to block out the sky with the chemtrails is now becoming unblocked. Action has been taken, as I said, as a collective consciousness. If we can harness that energy, that power, that intent, and we can sort of like create this energetic shield. Now, the way I'm speaking, this is for those, you have to be doing a lot of like spiritual work and energy clearing and, within yourself, and not allowing your consciousness to be encompassed with being polarized, and another reason why a lot of people are pulling away from this energy is because you're realizing that, okay, I've done the polarization, I've done all of that. I don't feel that it aligns with me anymore. And it's time for me to start looking at things from a more balanced, neutral perspective. And then once that happens, I will then become more unified and whole. Okay, so this reading really isn't going to be for everybody, but there's growing evidence, especially from what I've seen online and what I've been witnessing with certain people. They're really starting to wake up, and it's really, really great to see. With the sun, we have got the strength. So there's a lot of resistance that's going on now. And also the sun is, there's strength there where we are getting a lot more stronger spiritually, which means then that we are able to individually as well as a collective trying to break down the oppression that they've been trying to, desperately hold on to. But, it's their downfall, it's their falling. As they say, symbolism will be their downfall. With regards to the 5 of Wands being in the reverse, we do have the 10 of Wands in the upright position. So this is what I'm saying, and 10 represents endings as well. And knowing that if you are around people who are, very dramatic, who's all about the dramas and, stuff like that, they're a liability. So why would you want to be aligning yourself with those kind of people anyway? But 10 comes with the ending. So I'm just going to pull for one card each. So with the 7 of Swords, we have the King of Wands. So this is about what course of actions to take, looking at things from a different perspective and taking an approach of being conscientious towards the actions that you're going to take, rather than rushing in crazy and shit like that. You're thinking now, you're planning, you're strategizing, okay? And this King of Wands has good intentions within him, as with, this Empress energy. And with the 7 of Cups, we've got the Page of Wands in the reverse. So this would have been the illusion. This energy is relating to the 5 of Wands group. You're not really going to be associating yourself with that illusion, because illusion is confusion. And then you've got the 7 of Swords upright. You've got those that would be in that 5 of Wands energy, the Page of Wands energy with the 7 of Cups. You're not allowing yourself to be triggered by every little thing that they're doing. yes, it's going to be triggering others. And, remember, everyone's on their journey from different levels and different stages. I feel I'm more speaking to those who are more advanced. And I don't mean it in a way of being egotistical here or putting anybody on any kind of pedestal. I'm not into that kind of competition shit. I tell you that now. But it's just that where we are coming more closer to our, higher selves or our oversouls, there's this feeling of the energy of experience that's returning. Being, you're stepping back into your remembrance and how powerful you bloody well are. And then underneath the bottom of the deck, we have got the Six of Wands, victory, overcoming all of, the challenges, the oppression, the depression, all of the things that they have been trying to do to us in the past. And it's in the past. And I'm going to pull another card here because you've been working on yourself, doing the inner work, working on your mastery. Okay, so this is really lovely to see. This is really great. Let's start to close out this reading. I'm going to pull this card because I think this is really important. This is the Ancient Stones Oracle. So this is Live the Question, and it says curiosity. Open your mind, live into it. All right. And then the next card that I have got, next message that wants to come through. The Cave, retreat, time out, self-care, slow down. So again, without fastening up yourself to go rushing into stuff. And again, this feels like this would be, a lot of people who are, retreating. Retreating doesn't mean that you're being a coward or anything like that. It just means that you're being called to go within, to reflect, to pause, to take time out for yourself. And because of the way how the solar flares have been really and truly going in hard on us, okay, we need to be able to, take that time out to sort of protect our energies, slow down, rest. When you feel the need to rest, especially if you work from home or whatever, it'd be much more easy for you to do so. Or like if you work for a job, sort of like as soon as you get home, then try, if you can, to rest, go to bed, at least 20 minutes or half an hour earlier, if you can, depending on your situation, but this is really great to see. Moving away, energetically being removed from people, and people have been, energetically removed from your life. The next card that I've got, the next message is soul agreement, soul mission, soul plan, and life purpose. So what I see going on here, especially with, let me get my pen again, especially with this Empress energy and the time of when this is coming in, you're living the questions, or what am I supposed to be doing? What's my soul mission? What's my soul plan? What's my life purpose? Strategizing and planning before taking and making a conscientious decision on what it is that you're going to be doing. And again, with the Eight of Pentacles, when it comes to working on yourself. So, there's something, I don't know if you can see, there's a beautiful little baby within her womb. This is all about creation. And it's giving me like another version of this beautiful Empress energy, this sacred feminine energy that is also coming through. So it's, because this is like definitely softening the rough edges of the distorted masculine. And it is a guy here, representing men, women as well, energetically speaking, but also men and women. There's this feeling as well of men that are definitely more understanding, especially if they have been going through a lot themselves, with their own sort of feminine energies within, and thinking, oh, it's wrong to be feeling like this. No, it's not. It's just this natural process of the balance within. So it's not as distorted as it was before, or else you would have been in the Five of Wands energy in the upright position. Okay. And then the next card that we've got, Wisdom Keeper. a new perspective, study and learning. All right, so this is very, very interesting to see. Some of you could be stepping into a new soul career, which is part of your soul mission, your intentions. You could be wanting to teach others, share your wisdom with others, share what you know, or to form some kind of think tank group, either online or offline, where you will come together and start to discuss more instead of like really attacking each other online. I feel that there's going to be, okay, it's not I feel, I know. Eventually, there is going to be a decrease in the amount of attacks that people are going to be doing online because, again, of this energetic removal, this distancing between. It's no longer going to be like the cesspit of the mishmash of, us and them all like tangled up together. There's this unnatural folding of understanding and compassion that's really going to be unfolding here and coming in. It's happening as we speak, but unfortunately it's not going to happen, say, at the ending of this reading, which would be very, very wishful thinking. But everything has a natural time and a natural process, and I'm not talking about linear time here. The next card that we've got is the healing stones, tenderness, care, gentleness, and nourishment. I feel that this is really, again, during the time of the in-between of when we're getting these heavy, energetic downloads and, the powers coming in from the sun, is when we're kind of like using this time wisely to really integrate everything, who we are, what we know, where we came from, where we're heading towards, and stepping back into our remembrance. And underneath the bottom of the deck, we have got the Hagstone, energy shield, protection, and inner strength, which again, to me, represents and aligns strongly with, again, stepping out from this energy of the Five of Wands people and overcoming, insecurity. Some of you could be like leaving situations behind. And if you add the 4 and the 6 together, which would be the 10 of Wands, you're breaking that oppression. You're breaking the depression. You're moving away from, this unstable energy. And, it can also be about, breaking away from, toxic people that have been, doing nothing but harming and shit like that, and stepping more into your purpose. And what is great to see, the King and the Queen of Wands being in the upright together, it's given me this feeling of the, successfully aligning and healing the inner feminine and inner masculine energies so that we can now take and make better decisions and, purposeful action instead of like just doing things, in a very irrational way. Guys, this is what I've got for this reading. Hope it makes sense. Hope, this kind of aligns with what you've been feeling, some kind of confirmation, some in between. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next reading. Take care of yourselves.